the first Friday of June 2014. Trust you're keeping well and warm. Thank you for tuning in to Friday Briefing, the best start to your weekend. Well, tonight on the show, we give you a 360-degree look at news making headlines, of course, across the country, including why men are now suing their wives for upkeep. Well, that's not all. Our unrivaled segments are also on the menu. And of course, renowned comedian MC Jesse is our guest anchor tonight. Let me just welcome him. MC Jesse, great to see you in studio.
You're
so used to this.
See you, Sana. We're used to live audience. Where are the people?
Here. These are my people, the cameraman, these are my people, everyone here, the makeup lady.
The people that are watching us at home,
and those, of course, and the audience.
Na unakaa poa.
Asante.
Shika salamu za kutoka kwa Kalonzo.
Yeah, I was asante sana.
Sitakwambia usimame. Najua uko chini unashindana na mimi.
Let's not go there. Now, MC Jesse, there's something that, you know, you of course don't have a six-pack. We all know that. I think Kenyans know that. Uko na one pack.
Sauti Solo amenipea moral. Yeah, now I'm going to the gym. Yes, so niweze hata mimi kutingiza cubes. Now, soon this one itakuwa sasa inaenda hivi. Hivi soon.
That will never happen.
So,
actually, you know what? As a first challenge, you utasoma news ndio, but as a first challenge, let's play some music. Let's show people what you're good at.
Now we uta dance.
Apana, me I can't dance.
So which song?
You know.
What I'll make a
Tufundishe. If you have a
one unafanya, you're supposed to remove your one pack, eh? Kama umefunga koti, hii ni dance ya wadosi. The rich only. So iko hapo, unafungua, alafu unaonyesha the wealth of the nation. Alafu una bend kidogo, you reach down to the people. Alafu wapi kamera yenye ina focus hapa? Lazima kuwe na yenye ina focus wealth of the nation. Hapo. Hapo. Alafu unazungusha hivyo.
Okay, I suggest you should hit the gym. Okay, thank you for that. Well, you will be joining us in just a short while as our guest anchor. That, of course, no doubt. But also remember that Willis, the word master, is groomed and ready for tonight's Mind Your Language segment, in which he will be telling us the correct pronunciation of handsome, among other words. Well, all that coming your way in the next hour or so. But let's first begin with our top stories tonight. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has criticized Parliament for derailing plans to secure the country from insecurity and terror threats. The President says the National Assembly Security and Administration Committee is not doing the country any good in suspending the 15 billion shillings tender for security cameras by Safaricom. And as KTN Samogena reports, the Attorney General, Professor Githu Muigai, says no one asked him for legal advice on the tender.
It was at his sanctum at the Nairobi State House where the president let known his dismay over the suspension of the multi-billion security tender to Safaricom, referred to as the Public Safety Communications Project.
Munge is telling me, our friend here, Justin, is busy saying, I don't know about security systems and what. This man has never given me a briefcase. I've never seen him anywhere. I mean, he's just helping us secure the country, for God's sake. This is what Kenyans want.
Uhuru accused business brokers of sponsoring elements to derail all contracts on which such brokers may have lost out. The other party at the center of the communications tender, Safaricom Limited, has however welcomed the probe by the Parliamentary Security Committee. Safaricom CEO Bob Collymore says they will give their full cooperation to the committee during the life of the probe. In an apparent reply to queries on the safety of the sensitive security system in the control of a profit-making business entity, Collymore says the system will run on an independent security communications network and not Safaricom's commercial network. Safaricom also says the National Police Service will be in total control of the system.
Process will involve digitization.
This as the country's chief legal advisor marked the waters around the disputed multi-billion CCTV installation project. Professor Githu Muigai says his counsel was never sought on procedural matters in floating the tender. The 14.9 billion shilling security surveillance contract was awarded to mobile giant Safaricom in a restricted tendering process.
The Attorney General is not an ombudsman. He doesn't knock from office to office asking people, what are you doing? So I advise you. The Attorney General advises upon request.
The Parliamentary National Security Committee suspended the deal, citing procurement flaws in settling for Safaricom. The contract with the mobile giant remains unsigned, despite government's engagement with the telephony firm on the rollout of the spying cameras in major cities across the country.
Tunafanya kazi na Safaricom, tunataka kuhakikisha kwamba askari hawa wanapata information real time, kuhakikisha kwamba tunakabiliana na magaidi na wakora.
Security consultant, however, says security contracts not necessarily require parliamentary approval, but the president is obliged to do so in obedience of the law.
It would have been a good practice also if he consulted with Parliament. And the reason is that the Parliament is a custodian of the spirit of the law, well as he is the custodian of the letter of the law.
Given the sensitivity of the security docket and its installations, Ngunyi defended the direct tendering and restricted tendering as apt procurement means of tamper-proof security hardware and softwares, that the methods restrict leaking of intelligence acquisition.
If you put it out there, you're going to have a Kamau and Joroge kind of guy coming together, concocting a tender and going to China to look for a guy to team up with them, and they will supply. And people in this country are very clever in doing these things. This is how you end up having a lot of junky stuff coming to the country.
Even the large businesses that are...
Nonetheless, the president has been challenged to heed to the parliament's reservation on the CCTV installation deal. This despite the urgency in dealing with terror threats and insecurity incidents on the home front.
These are bold measures to fight terror.
Samugina, KTN.
Now, the ruling by a children's court ordering a woman who had deserted her husband to pay him 3,000 shillings a month for child upkeep continues to elicit debate. While a section allowed it's an idea whose time has actually come, others feel that it has tilted the scales against women. Well, KTN caught up with the man at the heart of the row just to find out what prompted him to take up that matter.
Vincent Onyango has had to learn how to juggle tasks. He entertains visitors while keeping an eye on the chores that need to be done in order to keep the house he shares with his 2 children running. Vincent and Roslyn Muyonga, his wife of 6 years, lived here in relative harmony, he says, until last May when she sought his permission to visit her parents.
Aliniomba ruhusa akasema aende na atarejea baada ya siku 2. Nilingoja baada ya siku 2 hakurejea. Aliniambia tu ukitaka nirejee nyumbani itabidi ukuje na wazee.
The bone of contention was the fact that Vincent had never constructed a house for his wife. Roslyn's departure marked a turning point. Without a woman in the homestead, Vincent became the primary caregiver.
Hawa angali wachanga, unaweza pengine umepika chakula kama umeweka chai kwa thermos. Huyu mdogo hawezi kunywa peke yake, pengine hata tena kuungua na hiyo thermos. Hata ukiweka hapo thermos, saa zingine huyo mdogo anapasua.
And this is what led Vincent first to the children's department and then to court, accusing his wife of deserting him. His application resulted in the landmark ruling by a children's court in Butere that ordered his estranged wife to pay him 3,000 shillings every month to maintain the 2 children she deserted or face a jail term of 5 years. She has vowed to challenge the ruling. So what will Vincent spend the money on?
Kitu yenye inaweza faidika kwa shurutisho na hiyo pesa, pengine ni kumwajiri mtu mwenye anaweza linda watoto wakati nimeenda kutafuta chakula na nguo ama kitu kama hiyo.
The ruling by the Butere Children's Court is a legal landmark in Kenya where maintenance costs are usually awarded to women. This also comes at a time when Homa Bay South Member of Parliament Peter Kaluma is seeking to introduce changes to the Children Act which would give men an equal claim to children born out of wedlock. Men now appearing to prepare themselves for what may become the new normal. The ruling by a children's court in Butere now sets a precedent and is set to shift the balance, putting both sides on notice in cases of marital strife where children are involved. Wilkiston Nyapwa, KTN in Nairobi.
Well, Kis's story leads us to our big question tonight, and our focus, in the focus we're asking, do you support the decision to have able women pay for their husbands for child upkeep? Do you support this decision to have able women pay for their husbands for child upkeep? I'll do that again. Do you support the decision to have able women pay their husbands for child upkeep? That's our big question tonight. The number is 22155, or if you're on Twitter, you can tweet me at Betty Callow with the hashtag Friday Briefing, and we'll be sampling your views as we move along. Now, the government has said the youth failed to apply for or to absorb government tenders set aside for them. Devolution and Planning Cabinet Secretary Anne Waiguru said youth only took up to 2 billion out of the 50 billion shillings worth of procurement projects meant specifically for them. Patrick Amimo has the details.
As the youth from across the country engage the government on issues hindering their progress, Deputy President William Ruto and Cabinet Secretary for Devolution Anne Waiguru candidly told the youth that the government had done its part and the youth had failed themselves. Waiguru revealed that last year, the youth took up only 2 billion shillings worth of contracts out of the 50 billion shillings exclusively set aside for them.
We looked a week ago, we found that we've only given tenders for about 2 billion shillings. So the question to the youth, what is it that we are not doing from the government side to enable you get those tenders that are actually earmarked for the youth?
As we are talking today, the biggest challenge we have with the Wezo Fund is that there are fewer applicants. People are not coming forward to say, I have this program. And we have made it easy. We have said, you don't need any security. If you don't step forward, the opportunities will slip by.
But the youth blamed government bureaucracy and red tape for the slow uptake of funds meant for their empowerment. TNA Chairman Johnson Sakaja disclosed the National Assembly had passed an amendment bill on procurement laws that would ensure youth, women and people with disabilities get their mandatory 30% of tendered projects from national government and counties.
Now this bill has made it mandatory, which is why it is at the Senate, for every county government to set aside 30% of the total procurement value, not number of contracts, and you must get it right.
The county governments will be obligated by legislation as much as the national government is obligated to make sure that 30% of procurement goes to young people, people with disabilities and women.
When you talk about job creation, how do you have leaders who are jobless? It's impossible.
What we can commit to do from our side, together with the National Youth Council and with the support of the National Assembly, is to put the proposal forward for review by the SRC.
The government revealed plans to use the National Youth Service to train 20,000 youth on entrepreneurial and other life support skills. 18 billion shillings has been set aside for NYS to roll out the programs.
If we don't train young people and arm them or equip them with relevant skills, technology, and talent, this Vision 2030 could easily become Vision 3020.
According to the World Bank, unemployment in Kenya stands at 40%, and 70% of those unemployed are aged between 18 and 35. The World Bank estimates that approximately 800,000 Kenyans join the labor market each year, and only 50,000 succeed in getting professional jobs. The government says 700,000 jobs were created in the informal sector last year. The youth have been urged to step forward and take advantage of the funds meant for the economic empowerment. But the greatest challenge for the government remains youth unemployment. Patrick Amimo, KTN, at the Kasarani Stadium, Nairobi.
Now, there was confrontation at the Total petrol station on Nairobi's Kimathi Street after a customer discovered that the pump attendant had filled her fuel tank with water. The attendant explained that water may have leaked into the underground storage tanks that have recently undergone repairs. That, of course, is according to Total management.
This is a fuel station along Kimathi Street in Nairobi's CBD that was a beehive of activity this morning. A customer who had fueled at the station said her vehicle refused to ignite shortly after the fuel she bought was pumped into her vehicle. And after the management failed to assist her,
why did you have to call this guy?
she resorted to calling her mechanic.
Mimi wakati nilikuja hapa nilichukua spana nikafungua kwa bonnet, nikafungua kapu ingine hapo, nikachomoa pipe ya petroli. Kuchomoa nikaambia mwenyewe nipigie start. Kwenda kupiga start, ile kitu ilikuwa inatoka ni maji, sio mafuta.
Once the mechanic proved that indeed there was water in the fuel and demanded that the manager helps her secure another vehicle, the manager would have none of that.
Maji imetokelezea kwa pump chini. Kwa pump, after hiyo mafuta after kuwekewa kama mafuta, kurealize ndio tukaona ni maji. Lakini maji si ati tuliweka, iliingia kutoka kwa mafuta ama ilikuja na mafuta kutoka kwa depot. Ni maji ilitoka kwa mvua ilinyesha.
However, Total Kenya was quick to respond to the matter of the contaminated fuel. Their statement to KTN said that the station along Kimathi Street recently underwent some repairs involving interconnection of underground storage tanks, and that the recent downpour in parts of Nairobi could have led to flooding and traces of water could have found their way into one of the underground tanks and gone undetected. The statement from the communications manager indicated that investigations to establish whether the problem could have come from the fuel uptake have been launched and samples of the fuel taken from the customer's car. Najma Ismail, KTN Friday Briefing.
Now, at the mention of the word albinism, most people will visualize white skin, too sensitive to the sun and poor eyesight. But did you actually know that most children with albinism are very intelligent and have great dreams as well? Well, through the eyes of one Evanson Kang'ethe, we discover what going to school means for children like him.
Meet 9-year-old Evanson Kang'ethe. He, just like other boys and girls his age, have big dreams. Most of their dreams can only be realized through formal education. But because of the challenges children with albinism face, nearly 90% of them are taken to special schools.
That I see children with albinism taken to blind schools all over the world. They attend normal schools and they are just, with a little help, they can study normally.
Kang'ethe's story is no different. He first went to St. Lucy's School for the Blind in Igoji.
Nilikata kusoma hiyo, mimi nilisema ndaandika na pencil sitasoma na ya blind.
But there was something else.
Kama venye tulikuwa tunasaidia watoto waoni, kama ni kuenda games, kama ni kukimbia, unashika mtoto huyu mwingine, mnakimbia pamoja.
Kang'ethe would walk from home to Jimsi Academy, but what was it like for him and his mother?
Watu wanakuja, wananipigia mlango, wananiambia nitoe mamilioni kwa nyumba. Hiyo mamilioni ya pesa umeweka kwa nyumba, tutolee, sasa tupeleke TZ. Na mimi nakatalia mtoto wangu, ndio nikaona heri mtoto nimpeleke boarding.
Huyo mwenye alikuwa na cape ya white akajaribu kuniweka kwa gunia, na huyo mwingine mwenye alikuwa na ya red akaenda kwa duka ku-confuse na cigarette. Sasa anasema staki hii, nataka hii, staki hii, nataka hii. Alafu na huyo mwingine ndiye alikuwa anajaribu kunichukua, aniweke kwa sack ndo anibebe. Sasa venye alikuwa anataka kutoroka na mimi nikapiga nduru.
Kang'ethe was sponsored to go to school by the Dr. Choksi Albinism Foundation. He is now a student at Lighthouse Grace Academy, Riruta, a regular boarding school. He is the only child with albinism in the school.
I would say that Evanson does quite well. I would like to tell the rest of the teacher, or just to say that let these children, even if they have such a condition, they should not be put into special school.
And they can study normally. A little larger font of the letters that they're reading, larger picture display on the computers, and a little understanding and from the teachers.
I want to be a pilot because I have gone through more troubles.
For many parents and teachers who think that children with albinism cannot succeed in regular schools, Kang'ethe goes to shatter this myth that these children have potential and can succeed given the chance. Dorcas Wangira, KTN, Nairobi.
Very inspiring. Now, another security tender, which is, of course, the CCTV tender, has sparked controversy. The other controversial security-related contracts, known collectively as the Anglo-leasing, have not yet died down. But the existence of the Anglo-leasing scandals points to a dire need for scrutiny of one specific set of tenders and contracts, those concerning security. It sounds simple enough. If a contract is flawed, cancel it. But as KTN's John Alanamu now explains, walking the line between beating back corruption in security and protecting national security isn't at all an issue that's either black or white.
It started with a secret recording of a conversation. And after that, revelation after revelation of what, by many accounts, was the biggest con since the Goldenberg affair.
Very, very, very informative.
One key fact about the Anglo-leasing type contracts that is mentioned in passing but has real significance is the fact that these were all security contracts.
So what we learn from Anglo-leasing and security tendering is that if there is money, corruption money is highest in security tendering.
But why the secrecy around security contracts that the public will eventually pay for? 4 words: the Official Secrets Act.
We've come from a colonial perspective where security was used by the lords to maintain order and discipline. And they were not questionable. We couldn't question them. We couldn't ask anything of them.
The Official Secrets Act was indeed useful in keeping secret of Kenya's most crucial security acquisitions and maneuvers, but many security contracts, including to an extent the Anglo-leasing contracts, had stamped all over them the Official Secret seal of approval, hiding many, many sins. In days past in Kenya, if you were a journalist that was writing a story questioning security contracts here in a newsroom, then your editor would probably take a look at your story, tell you good job, and then after you've left his office, gingerly tear your story and throw it in a bin because it wouldn't go anywhere. But all that has changed with the advent of the new constitution, specifically with laws that enshrine access to information, public information, or information that is of interest to the public. And that's why the Anglo-leasing contracts, and more recently, the deal between Safaricom and the government on the provision of security infrastructure is being followed and watched and scrutinized so closely. But in scrutiny of security contracts specifically, how much information is too much information? And how secret is secret?
We shouldn't have a blanket situation where we talk of security contracts together per se. What is classified as top secret? That we would understand if we have the secrecy laws enforced. And what can be released without compromise to general security of the country.
Even so, there still are questions about oversight. For instance, how will the public know if our security forces are buying knockoff G3 rifles and paying for brand name guns, as has been alleged in the past procurement of G3 rifles? It's been very difficult to audit the budgetary allocations to our security institutions. Last year, during the media breakfast hosted at State House, I put a question of public scrutiny of security agencies to President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Matters of national security, again, we have to be sensitive in the manner in which they are approached and handled for reasons that are well known. But it's how to balance that with the need to ensure greater transparency and openness. But we want to look at best practices in other countries.
But even internationally, there may not be much solace to be sought.
This is a practice the world over. Corruption in tendering in China, in Indonesia, all those places is most rampant in security tendering, because that's also where you do your politics through. And I think that Anglo-leasing, the problem with it was not that money was stolen, but the problem with it was that the people who were stealing it were discovered eating with their mouths open.
My government has decided to install state-of-the-art high-tech security measures across the country.
As with the Safaricom government deal, parliamentary committees could be the country's salvation. Hopefully, unlike Anglo-leasing, parliamentary scrutiny can preempt, not offer post-mortems of public theft. John Alanamu, KTN.
Now, is there not a Kenyan held hostage in South Sudan? The government of South Sudan tonight says no. Well, this after its Foreign Affairs Minister Benjamin Marial spoke to KTN last evening, saying a Seska plane from Kenya landed in Jonglei and was later attacked by rebels. KTN's Edith Kimani has the latest developments from the same story that has tonight got a new version.
None of them won that election. They all failed.
As a charge d'affaires at the South Sudanese embassy, Ambassador James Morgan's role is self-explanatory, taking care of South Sudanese matters in Kenya, and he says his word on the alleged missing aircraft and Kenyan in Jonglei is solid.
We don't know where this plane came from, who sent it, what was it carrying, and for what purpose, we don't know.
The plane the official is talking about is a Seska caravan, which reportedly left Nairobi and ended up in Jonglei, a war-torn state in South Sudan and under rebel control.
I think that is not true.
But the new version of events comes less than 24 hours after Benjamin Marial, the South Sudanese Minister for Foreign Affairs, issued a different position on KTN Thursday evening.
This plane had only food on it, and the guard for the chief and the spiritual leader.
The minister wasn't even surprised, and he was saying even something of that kind might have happened. It was not that he said truly that it happened.
The changing tune from the government of South Sudan makes for an even more complicated narrative of just where the aircraft, allegedly owned by a Kenyan air charter company, was heading and why details surrounding its alleged capture by the rebels are so hazy. Rebels allied to former South Sudan Vice President Riek Machar claim to have the two occupants from the plane, one of them a Kenyan pilot, in their custody. The rebels say they're holding them hostage for allegedly plotting assassinations on the orders of Sudanese president.
We are not a terrorist organization. We have nothing regarding assassinations.
The South Sudan government says they are not looking for any plane or hostages. The contradictory statements coming from South Sudan notwithstanding, legislators from Kenya have been warned against making any statements regarding our northern neighbor. This was in response to a section of MPs who Thursday said the Kenyan government was taking sides by hosting former detainees allied to Riek Machar. CORD's Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, in a statement to newsrooms, added that those statements were reckless and risked prejudicing the success of peace talks with the country. At the moment, however, the situation of a missing plane remains unclear, as now 3 versions stand of the same story. Edith Kimani, KTN.
Now, Deputy President William Ruto today dismissed CORD's demands for a national dialogue as a political gimmick aimed at finding excuses for mass action, starting with a Sabasaba date. Ruto, who was speaking in Kisii County, ruled out any possibility of engaging with CORD. But the CORD team has insisted that national dialogue on pertinent issues has to happen one way or the other. The Jubilee leaders have begun what is going to be a weekend of meetings in Kisii, Nyamira, and Migori.
The Deputy President, who was conducting a fundraiser at Rio Kindo High School in Kisii, took an uncompromising stance to CORD's demands, scorning them as distractions that will hamper development efforts.
Barabara hiyo ya kugawanya wananchi kwa misingi ya kabila, kwa misingi ya dini, tuongee tsunami, tuongee maandamano, ile mass action ndio ilitupeleka barabara mbaya inayoteleza karibu tuangamize hii nchi.
Ruto, who was the first to dismiss the opposition's demands, seemed emboldened by the position that Jubilee took this week after discussions with the president. Earlier, Uhuru Kenyatta seemed to provide room for national dialogue in his Madaraka Day speech. But CORD leaders have insisted that the national dialogue has to happen one way or the other.
We want to tell leaders, mambo ya uchaguzi imekwisha. Mwenye kupata amepata. Mwenye kukosa angojee. Kwani imesemekana ile uchaguzi ilifanyika ilikuwa ya mwisho? Sisi kutakuwa na uchaguzi mwingine kule mbele. Sasa hii kelele yote ni ya nini?
On the question of the so-called dialogue,
we offered to talk to Jubilee. The president first said yes, he was available to talk. Then he quickly retracted, and we need no rocket science to understand who caused him to do so. And having done so, we are dealing with the people of Kenya, and you are going to see us have rallies in all major cities of this country.
Ruto is preparing the ground for the weekend visit by the Jubilee team led by President Uhuru Kenyatta himself. Brinkmanship between Jubilee and CORD continues, and with every passing day, chances of a national dialogue kicking off seem to be fading. Fred Omulo, Kisii County, KTN Prime.
Well, it's time to take a short commercial break. Let's have a reminder of our big question tonight. And we are asking, do you support the decision to have able women pay their husbands for child upkeep or support? That's our big question tonight. Do you support the decision to have able women pay their husbands for child upkeep? Very many opinions coming through. Let me just read one or two here. Or from Twitter, SVETSM says, no, men should work for the upkeep of their children just as single women do without the support. Solomon Kinyanjui views it differently. He says, since we are talking about gender equality, it's very much okay. Keep your views coming. You can tweet me at Betty Kialo or with the hashtag Friday Briefing, or on the SMS platform 22155, and I'll be sampling your views as we move along. Let's take that break. When we come back, MC Jesse will take the hot seat. He can sure make us laugh, but can he read the news? That's the big question. Stay tuned to KTN Friday Briefing. Welcome back to KTN Friday Briefing. Ama ningeacha useme hivyo.
Acha nikae vizuri kama anaitwa nani ule jamaa serious Wilson Mburu.
Yuka serious.
Acha kangi.
Yeah, we're supposed to be very serious people.
Well, welcome back to KTN Friday Briefing. I'm MC Jesse.
And I'm Betty. Thank you so much for staying tuned. You're such a bully, by the way. Now, before you came, there are a couple of tweets zimekuja. Like, it's Jackie NYC. I don't know if it's nice. Anasema, you should not talk about Kiambu girls. Alafu, so many tweets have come. I mean, what is it about Kiambu girls? Walikufanya nini?
Let me tell you. Wakwito, Kialo. Now your name betrays you. Anyway, just kidding. Let me tell you, the first time I landed in Nairobi, kutoka Meru.
You don't land in Nairobi from Meru.
Of course you land.
You
Accra
just arrive.
Road.
Oh, okay, sir. Accra, okay, sir.
Unajua dream yetu tukiwa Meru ilikuwa kufika Nairobi. Tulikuwa tunasikia Nairobi like New York City. So umefika hivi, alafu umeshindwa sasa nitaenda wapi. And then unasikia hello sasa. What I want is aya nasadi wewe ni mgeni huku Nairobi. Nikamwambia mimi naitagwa Shikosi, acha nikupeleke ujue na hivi suri. Sisi hatu waki wabaya. That's the first person umekutana na yeye.
Okay.
Ni akanienda tukaishi azina kanipeleka kwa mabro zake huko pande za Kist.
Hivyo tu.
Kiambu,
Kiambu.
Kist. Mahali panaitwa Kist.
But are you sure ni wa Kiambu wanaweza kwa Githunguri wa
sasa
somewhere
tulikuwa Kiambu Kist. Karibu huko. Tulikuwa tunaenda shopping Kamindi supermarket Kiambu. Alafu naibiwa tao. Alafu kirudi baada ya kukonsola kwambia kai hata uliibiwa ile pesa ulienda nayo asubuhi. Don't worry, if you kuna eda. Imagine.
Pole sana.
Hapo niambie ni waache hapo ni
wao. Sawa basi sawa. Now you come from Meru, right?
Yes.
Stereotypes gani? What stereotypes are true about people from Meru? Kuna zingine nasitaki kusema mimi wataka useme kwanza.
Meru hatuna stereotypes. Ni za ukweli zote.
Oh. Nyuka sirika sana.
Sicheze. Wewe hata wakati wa post election violence ulisikia Meru mahali ameulizwa kitu? Hakuna. Si ati politicians wetu ati ni wa polite sana. Ni wazuri sana. Hawatakangi vita kwa sababu usijaribu ku provoke anybody. Si umeona ameweka rentore amekatalia hapo. Amekataa na mswanda. Amekataa na mswanda.
Hivyo ni ukweli.
Hai. Tonjo kwa Meru asira yetu inakuangaa huko ndani umeituliza unaitoa when necessary.
When necessary.
Unaambia mtu hebu acha mchezo. Chesangi na watu usinifanye nifanye vile nimejizuia kufanya maisha yangu yote. So usipoacha asira itatoka, ukiacha
ni hivyo.
Wameru tuko juu.
Do you chew miraa? Because that's another. Sema ukweli.
Sasa ni kama kuuliza Muluya unakunywanga chai
ama unakula kuku.
Ama unakula kuku. Lakini Meru miraa italingana kama wewe ikula ama wewe uchana.
Oh yeah, kuchana.
Kula sikulangi miraa.
Lakini
sasa
siwezi jua.
Unafaa uchane baby.
Okay, uchane.
Nilikuwa nachana kitambo. Sasa Nairobi ni vile sasa hakuna time.
Vitu zinaenda haraka.
Miraa kwetu sio dhambi na it's a green gold. You know what it means to have veve in your land? Inamea hivi uko na mgodi wa dhahabu. So that's Meru. It's not a sin. Hata church watu toa tithe. Unapeleka veve. Pastor nimeleta kitundu. Nimeleta kitundu. Kitundu ni kilo sasa ile unatengeza kikubwa.
Ile inakuanga round.
Ile inakuanga round kubwa imebebwa, imefungwa na fridge. Fridge ni
sawa hiyo.
Ile kitu ya green, ile matawi.
Muona tu sijaishika hata.
So jaribu Meru. Kazishika mob.
So sasa kuna this ban, on miraa in the UK. I mean, what do you feel about this? Very sad. If let's say today you are an MP, and you are addressing your residents.
Like a senator.
Okay, senator.
Yes.
And you are addressing residents, in Meru. What would you tell them? This thing now, it used to bring millions and now it's been banned.
Chalo, for real, miraa is our green gold. And wakati imebaniwa, it's a sad thing. For real, ni sad sana. I know some of my classmates, kina Njanaro Mwenda, na kina Motua, na kina Kobito wote, ni watu ambao wanategemea miraa peke yake waishi. Wako huko Meru ya huko mbele ya Maua Ntonyere Ntobete Kiongo. Ukipata Meru utajua huko kote. Sasa hao watu wanategemea miraa. Unlike this other Meru ya Meru Town, Kobo and this other place whereby wanatujua hao watu wanawatch KTN. This other side they do fruits and other zinaitwaje agriculture stuff. Products. Sasa miraa vile mebaniwa ile part hata haisupport kwa sababu vile naweza waambia ukiwa kama
senator tumia kamtu
tafadhali kama wameamua hawataki kuchana tena tunaweza ingilia kilimo aina nyingine. Najua ni ngumu kungoa mti wa miraa. Unajua ni mti sio majani, si ati unatoa hivi, ni mti mzima giriveria ya miraa. Hiyo mti kama wezi kata ni sawa, hata sisemi watu wakate, tunaweza lima kitu ingine, but pia tunaomba Mheshimiwa Rais uingilie kati. This is the green gold. Wale wanasema Betty ati miraa is a drug. Sio drug, hii drug, but mi naweza kubali it is a drug because it can drag you from poverty to riches.
Nice one. Nice
if you say it is a drug, it will drag you from poverty to riches.
To riches.
Yes.
So, Basi, got that. Now I want you to introduce this story for us, and then tutaendelea na this conversation.
Unajua nilikuwa nasoma news hapa KTN.
No. Before
Financial Markets Live.
Really?
Yeah.
The shilling against
I tell you, the shilling against the dollar was trading at zinakwanga pesa ngapi?
So no. All right.
But I was there.
Camera 2 is your camera. Neo intro, you just do your best. But
I
please,
read this news.
No, don't read. You present it.
I present the news.
Yes.
Between smoking criminals out of their hideouts and maintaining law and order, police officers usually have little time left for all ease. However, one administration police officer in Mukurene constituency has taken conservation effort a notch higher. Corporal Efantes Washira has planted 150,000 trees in his life and is planting more every day. KTN spoke to him at his AP post in Mukurene, and here is his story.
When you visit the Mokorone Administration Police Post, you can't help but take in the sheer resplendent beauty. The greenery sets it apart from many AP or regular police posts that often sport the barest of amenities. Here, the beautiful flower arrangement welcomes you as you walk in. It is even a greater wonder to learn that all this work is done by a police officer Corporal Ephantus Washira, who told KTN that he took to trees just as fish does to water.
I was inspired to plant trees by my late father because I used to see him selling trees and we could get money for food, for fees. And later on, Wangari Maathai came into my mind. I could hear about Wangari Maathai and then I started monitoring her activities.
It started off as a hobby during his childhood and it soon became a favorite pastime of his.
About 15 years old. So I could set some small nurseries at home. I could sell some trees even when in secondary school to raise pocket money.
If he started planting the trees at the age of 15, we asked Corporal Washira just how many trees he has planted since then.
In the MP camp where I've been going through, I've planted more than 2,000 trees, and throughout my life I've planted about 150,000 trees.
And while he does this purely out of his love for conservation, he does make something extra from his sale of the seedlings to other interested parties. Is the venture expensive?
I use my salary to buy the seedlings, and labor and papers.
He sometimes sources for help.
I get youth from the town who are jobless. I give them the work.
Police camps are by nature areas of communal living, and while the corporal does his conservation work, we wondered whether his colleagues chip in.
Kwa hizi maposti ziko hapa Mokoroini, about 15 posts. At least amedistribute hizi miti zote huko. Na tumeona umuhimu ya kupanda miti.
Some of my colleagues could see it as an extraordinary job, but my seniors have been able to understand what I'm doing and they are very supportive.
He's not about to relent and says he will not tire of planting tree seedlings wherever he goes. He also hopes others will be as passionate about tree planting as he is. Well, police officers usually have a lot on their hands, but this particular one has found time to do just what he loves and do his bit in matters conservation, and of course hopes that everybody could share his passion. Carol Nderi for KTN in Nyeri.
Thank you so much, Carol. Umepanda mti hata moja ever? Apart from Mira.
Kupanda mti. Yeah, nimepanda miti. Nimepanda, nikiwa Meru unapanda alafu unaangalia fa.
That's not what I meant.
Nani anakuja? Wewe unaangalia chini unaambia mtu.
That's not what I meant.
Oh, planting.
Planting trees, yeah.
Yes, I've planted. Meru huwezi kosa kupanda miti. Kuna land kubwa sana.
Nyingi. All right, so how do you think you fared? Kabla nikupatie score yangu.
Niambie, I was trained here. KTN.
Yes.
So better give me good
Jesse was actually a business reporter and what do you call it? Hopeful anchor. Wannabe.
Nilikuwa nataka kuwa hapa huko. Nikwe Wilson Boru ule achekangi.
No, thank you for KTN Prime.
That's why you didn't get it. But of course, but you did well.
Thank you.
I can give you a 9 out of 10.
Togo. Kwata. Hizo ni za Kalo. Alonzo.
So. All right. So introduce to us business.
Oh.
Camera 2.
Kwa kamera gani? Camera 2. This is mine. Now. Hakuna kitu ya kusoma.
We had lib.
Oh. And now we're going to business and Bonnie Tunya is standing by. Hey, Bonnie. How are you?
I'm very well, Jesse. You should actually get back to this.
Unaka Richard Quest.
I tried.
The African version.
Not bad. You should get back to this business, you know.
I was doing business here at KTN.
That's why you should get back.
So you took my job. So what do you have for us tonight?
Well, I took your job. We are talking about e-procurement today, and the president has some kind words for procure and tenderpreneurs, as we know them. Stay tuned. My name is Bonnie Tunya. This is Business. Growth in Kenya's banking industry last year was thrice that of the country's economy. Adelaide Changole has that report.
You know, the challenges we have had in terms of value for money.
If you're really not well connected, you will have a very hard, difficult time actually to go through.
These remarks are the best explanation to government procurement that over the years has remained in the hands of few cartels who make a kill from it.
Government has been buying things at a very exorbitant price. And just because the way we do it.
It is these experiences that explain why the government is moving to the electronic procurement platform as it seeks to cut wastage and be transparent in its dealings. Here it hopes it will get value for money in all its procurement deals.
Ensure that the procurement of goods and services is done fairly, equitably, transparently, competitively, and in a cost-effective manner.
The system is linked to budget approvals of the national and county governments and will disburse money in real time for approved projects. It will also save state suppliers the agony of chasing down their payments along the corridors of state offices.
This will help a lot in saving some of the public resources that have been, utilized in a way that because of the overpriced or overvalued procurement.
The system will also feature an audit trail to increase accountability and also help the government monitor how state entities disburse funds to special interest groups.
It will help us monitor the 30% rule that we have set.
I hope this system is credible and open in the fact that you really don't need to go through other avenues.
Adelaide Changole, KTN Business.
Right, bureaucracy and administrative burden has been noted as one of the key challenges facing business in the country. The President Uhuru Kenyatta noted that installation of an e-procurement system soon to be launched by the government would bring transparency and reduce numerous legal disputes arising from the procurement of government tenders. While hosting business leaders at the Kenya Private Sector Alliance Presidential Roundtable at State House, Nairobi, the President assured the private sector players that his government is determined to ensure free, fair and competitive tendering process, promising that local companies would be given priority in tendering for the provision of goods and services during the construction of the $300 million standard gauge railway, which is funded by the Chinese government. Also at the function, Attorney General Professor Githu Muigai confirmed that the government was in the process of digitizing all payments for government services to make it more accountable and faster. Well, the Senate Committee on Agriculture has expressed concern over the budgetary allocations to the sector and wants the budget doubled to address food security. The committee, chaired by Meru County Governor Kiraitu Murungi, is of the opinion that agriculture is losing ground on the list of the 2014-2015 budget priorities, with other areas like security receiving the lion's share.
More people are dying of hunger in this country than are dying of terrorism. So there is no reason why the ministry should not be given much more support than they are getting now.
Software company Craft Silicon has launched a software that seeks to add convenience and efficiency to mobile banking. Dubbed the Elmo 2.0 software, the company's CEO Kamal Budhabati says the platform will make it easier for banking services such as check deposits to be carried out through the mobile phone. The software, the firm adds, has the ability to incorporate joint account transactions in sending and receiving money with the consent of both parties via their cell phones.
Smart, please. Okay. Cool. It has. I never said the check is from Equatorial.
We want to make something better. The current solution that we are available in the market, all the way starting from M-Pesa, all the way to the other mobile banking products, I think they were designed a couple of years back.
We are all in the business of promoting IT or ICT as an enabler. We believe with IT and promoting solutions like what Kamal and the Craft Silicon have introduced today, you are not only helping Kenyans to be able to transact business and to have convenience in transaction of business, but you are also enhancing efficiency.
Creating new contacts for finding existing ones from a device can be tasking. This has seen innovators sprout around this challenge as entrepreneurs compete to find a niche in the highly competitive world of mobile applications.
When Eric Koyugi stepped out of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, he decided to transform the idea that was his final year project into a sustainable business. He built a mobile application that maps out contacts in the phone book and named it M-Sora.
There's a social problem that we all encounter every single day. I want to find somebody somewhere. What I do is I start calling everybody on my contact list. It's the basic problem we're trying to solve.
M-Sora, an investment worth 5.2 million shillings, has been in the market for 5 months now, targeting individuals and corporates. The idea rides on Kenya's place among Africa's leading markets for mobile applications, spurred on by high penetration of affordable smartphones.
I think Kenya is the best test market you can ever have, simply because of the dynamics in the market. If anything works in Kenya, if you're able to crack the Kenyan market, then basically the whole Africa is yours, to say the least.
And while an estimated 500 people and businesses use the application on a daily basis, Eric's journey to innovation has not been without challenges. Key among these was funding for the budding project.
We didn't have enough money then.
Apart from making networking easier, the application has also created jobs, signaling that more innovation could reduce the country's unemployment rate, which currently stands at 40% of the population. Charles Gitonga, KTN Business.
Here's a look at how your money is working for you in the financial market report coming up next. And that's how we wrap up business this Friday evening. My name is Boni Tunya. More business on Monday.
Well, it's that time that we go live to Kisumu County for tonight's Mind Your Language lesson with none other than Willis, the word master. Willis, great to see you looking good in that kitenge with the shiny embroidery.
Great to see you too, Betty, and I'm happy you've said embroidery. Embroidery, not embroidery.
Okay.
Otherwise, you also look great in your orange color. Orange.
Orange, not orange, orange.
Orange.
Orange, wow. So the lesson today has just started right at the introduction. Willis, let's get straight to it. I'll ask you 3 different pronunciations for our first set of words. We have cancel, like to revoke something, and then we have a legal, a defense lawyer. Is it a counsel? And then you also have the county council. I mean, those 3 words, very confusing. Maybe you should shed some light on that.
Betty, I don't know whether it's the wonderful orange color today, because the word you've started with is, or those 3 words are really confusing and great in English.
Okay.
So when we talk about revoke,
yes,
we say cancel. To cancel something, cancel, C-A-N-C-E-L. When we talk about a lawyer or a legal representative, we say counsel, counsel, that is C-O-U-N-S-E-L. Defense counsel. The same pronunciation is used when we are talking about county council. So the last 2 words are called homophones. They are spelled differently but pronounced the same way, Betty.
Okay. All right. Got that. Quite confusing, but that's good. Let's now move on to something also that is still related to law. Is it affidavit or affidavit?
We say affidavit. affidavit, not affidavit.
Okay.
Yeah, affidavit,
Okay.
affidavit. Yes, not affidavit, the way most people pronounce that word. Lawyers will tell you it's affidavit.
Or
Yes.
if they don't know now, they know affidavit. All right. Willis, let's
True.
move on to
That's
another
right.
word. We have paparazzi or paparazzi. You know those very, annoying photographers sometimes. Is it paparazzi, paparazzi? Which is which?
Well, we say paparazzi. The spelling is like we should be pronouncing that word as paparazzi because of the double Z-I, but that double Z takes the sound value paparazzi, just like in the word pizza, pizza. And Betty, paparazzi is the plural of paparazzo, paparazzo. So we don't say paparazzo, we say paparazzo, and paparazzi.
Let's move on to another word. Now, there's a building in town that, we know as Norwich, and also together with, of course, the football club. Norwich, when you hear the Europeans talking about it, it's Norwich. Which is which? Is it Norwich, Norwich Union? Quite confusing.
When we talk about the English pronunciation, Betty, what I sometimes call RP, received pronunciation, that W is silent. W is silent in that word or the name, so we say Norwich, not Norwich, as commonly said. Just like the other time, you remember, I reminded people that we say Greenwich, meridian time, not Greenwich.
Let's move on to a surprise word, or do you have surprise words tonight?
Straight away we say municipal, not municipal.
Okay.
Municipal council. Municipal council, not municipal council. Remember, we also say mutual, mutual, not mutual. And then, we don't say mutual, we say mutual.
Like a mutual
then we also
understanding.
have another word. That is it. So when we also talk about surprise words, there is this word people say handsome, handsome.
Handsome.
We should not say n in that word. We say han. D is silent. So you say so and so is handsome, handsome, not handsome. We don't have a digraph. Yes.
Okay.
Handsome.
Municipal.
Yes.
Mutual and handsome. Not. Does it apply to handbag? Do you say handbag?
Handbag, you say handbag. Handbag.
Okay.
Handbag.
All right.
There is no problem. That is when we talk of irregular sound values for similar letter sequences in the English phonology.
All right. Wow, this is quite, that's quite a surprise, mutual and municipal council. Right, Willis. Now, let's move on. Let's move on to our feedback. And Maurice Odwar last week had asked a very interesting question. Do we say mundane or mundane? And also, he has another second word. Is it rescind or resigned?
The first word we say ma, not mu, not mu. Mundane. Mundane. Not mundane, not mundane. Mundane. Mundane.
Yes.
Then the second word we say rescind. Rescind, not resigned. Many people find themselves talking about resigned, but the correct pronunciation for that word, Betty, is rescind. To rescind a move or a decision. Yes, rescind.
All right. A decision. I like the way you pronounce those words, Willis. Right, Willis. Thank you so
Betty,
much.
Yes. When it comes to English pronunciations, we have just to get them right. That is in serious communication.
Yes.
Ordinarily, somebody may use other pronunciations.
All right. Quite a lesson tonight. Orange, embroidery, mutual, municipal council. Thank you very much. Willis, the word master, is coming to us live from Kisumu County. You can only find him here on Friday briefing for the Mind Your Language lesson.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of KTN Sports, where we kick off at the Nile National Stadium, where world half marathon record holder Florence Kiplagat hopes to make a mark at the Commonwealth Games later this month in Glasgow, Scotland. Kiplagat won the 10,000 meters race on day 2 of the national trials at the Nile National Stadium, where Kenyan athletes continued to chase Commonwealth Games and Africa Athletics Championship slots at the Nile National Stadium. Of course, the race got to a slow start with no front runners, and the 2006 Commonwealth champion Lucy Kabul, however, was the first to accelerate the tempo, although the first 10 laps saw athletes stick together in a leading pack. Soon after, the weaker links faded off while the strong contenders gave the race their all. Kiplagat, who last represented Kenya in the 10,000 meters race at the 2009 World Championships in Berlin, separated herself from the rest of the field and eventually cut the tape in 32 minutes, 30.7 seconds ahead of Joyce Chepkirui and Emily Chebet. Kiplagat hopes to don the national colors one more time.
Anashangilia mashabiki, amemaliza kwa muda wa kazi kweli kweli. Haya, Emily Chebet ndio huyo.
If the federation will invite me to go to Commonwealth, then I want to say no. I say yes.
And keeping it athletics, Kenya's duo of Silas Kiplagat, Eunice Sum and United States Justin Gatlin were the biggest winners in the IAAF Diamond League Golden Gala last evening in Rome. Kiplagat won the 1500 meters race in a time of 3 minutes and 30.44 seconds. And shifting gears to football, after the international break, the Kenya Premier League resumes this weekend with Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards match the highlight of the weekend. Thika United will take on City Stars at the City Stadium, while former league champions Ulinzi Stars will welcome Sony Sugar at the Afraha backyard. Brewers Tusker, who are buoyed by their win over Gor Mahia over the week in the top 8 championships, will play host to Mathare United at their new Kinoru Stadium home in Meru County. However, the biggest match of the weekend will surely be the Shemeji Derby, pitting Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards. And to the World Cup now, Ivory Coast, one of the 5 African representatives in the 2014 FIFA World Cup, have been blowing hot and cold at the same time. They will, of course, have some of the best players of their generation with Yaya Toure, Didier Drogba, some of the leading lights. But with just 6 days to go before the World Cup extravaganza in Brazil, will the weight of expectations weigh them down? And that's the sport tonight. Do be sure to join us tomorrow for the second edition of Sambambaz. And of course, a more action-packed bulletin that is tomorrow. Same time, same place. I'm Lynn Washira. Do have a good night and enjoy the rest of your viewing. Right, we're just about to wind up things here on Friday briefing, but before then, let's have a review of our big question tonight. It's going to come on your screens in just a short while. And of course, we had asked you, do you support the decision to have able women pay husbands for child upkeep? And 73% say yes, and 27% say no. Thank you very much for your response. I have MC Jesse here.
I think men said yes, women said no.
Of course, but yeah, you know, women are.
Sasa wewe ni bibi yangu uko hapa KTN una earn pesa, alafu tuamue hehe, then utai kulipa.
No, but I mean.
Continue.
But it has always been the opposite. Just it's always
been paying. Mpaka kwa nini wanaume wana muscle?
But as a man, even the Bible says you should toil and provide for your children and for your family.
Are women still fighting for equality, gender equality?
No, it's not about gender equality. I think this is a this is a very serious. Okay, do you help in carrying the 9 months? Can you carry anyone for 9 months?
I've been carrying for many years.
Okay, sawa. Okay, MC Jesse, it's been a great
pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much. Okay, it has been a great pleasure hosting MC Jess, who's going crazy here. Thank you so much. Parting shot, very briefly.
Imepotea. Parting shot. God is all you need to have all your needs met.
Okay, I like that. My name is Bessie Kialo.
My name is MC Jesse.
Thank you so much for watching Friday Briefing and have a lovely night.
See you next time.